This reptile doesn't own flesh, it cracks shells. And that makes it something extraordinarily rare in the natural world. A reptile that evolution spent millions of years turning into a living, shell-cracking machine.
In the Amazon, most predators follow the same logic: detect, pursue, kill. Speed, power, territory. But not every species plays those rules. In the flooded margins of the Várzea, where wet water rivers overflow into the forest for months at a time, there is a reptile that took a completely different path: Dracaena guianensis. The northern caiman lizard, a teeth that gave up speed, gave up the chase, gave up competing with the jaguar, the anaconda, the caiman, and instead specialized in something almost no other reptile on earth can do: eating animals that are protected by a shell. Snails, mollusks, freshwater clams, crawfish even. When the opportunity presents itself, Amazon river turtles, prey that for most predators is simply inaccessible, a fortress. For this animal, it is a breakfast. To understand what that means, you have to understand something first. It is an evolutionary barrier. Building one took millions of years of selection pressure. Breaking one required the same. And this is the species that arrived at the answer. In an ecosystem like the Várzea, where the flood cycle transforms the entire landscape for months every year, raising the water level, submerging the forest floor, turning trees into underwater corridors, mollusks and aquatic invertebrates proliferate. More water, more shells, more food. For most species, inaccessible. For Dracaena guianensis, opportunity. This is its world. This is its chapter.
Let's talk about who this animal actually is. Its scientific name is Dracaena guianensis. It belongs to the family Theidae, relatives of tegus, amoebas, and whipsail. The genus name Dracaena comes from the Greek Dracaena, she-dragon. Early European naturalists call them little water dragon because of their armored prehistoric appearance. And here is the first extraordinary thing about this animal. It looks like a crocodile, it moves like a crocodile, it lives where crocodiles live, but it's not one. It is a true lizard. The resemblance is convergent evolution, two completely unrelated lineages arriving at the same body plan because the same environment demanded the same solution. We find this across the Amazon basin: Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, French Guiana, to Guyana. Its habitat is the Várzea, the whitewater flooded forest. Also, igapo, swamps, slow rivers, flooded forest margin, always below 500 meters above the sea level. But here is what matters. It is not just an Amazon species. It is a Várzea specialist. Remove the flood cycle and the ecological conditions that support this animal collapse. Morphologically speaking, males reach up to 126 centimeters and females up to 113. They can weigh up to 4.5 kilograms. But what matters most is the head, orange-red, disproportionately large, disproportionately heavy relative to the body size. The head is a weapon. Everything else is a delivery system. The jaw musculature is massively overdeveloped, visible as pronounced jaws in adult males, and the rear teeth, broad, flattened, roundish. Not the teeth of a predator, the teeth of a tool. The dorsal scales are large, peeled, armor-like, reinforced by osteoderms, which are bony plates embedded in the skin. The same structure found in crocodilians, bony armor underneath the scales. The tail is long, laterally compressed, with paired dorsal crest. It is the primarily swimming propulsor in the water. The nostrils are positioned on top of the snouts, not on the sides like most lizards, and equipped with hinge-like valves that seal shut on submersion. The same anatomical solution as crocodiles and hippos, evolved independently in a lizard. That is convergent evolution in real time. And it has a third eyelid, transparent. It slides horizontally across the eye when it dies. So basically, it's built-in underwater goggles. Most reptiles go blind the moment they submerge. This one hugs with its eyes wide open. Sexual dimorphism. Males have a broader, heavier head and more intense orange-red coloration. Females are slightly smaller with slightly duller coloration. Post-cloacal scale patterns differ between sexes, used for sex determination in zoological studies. Born into the flood, females excavate holes in riverbanks to deposit their eggs, between 5 and 7 eggs per flux. And the incubation period is 179 days, nearly 6 months underground. The hatchlings emerge fully independent, no parental care, none. Their first act of life is to dig themselves out of the riverbank and make their way to water, alone in the Amazon. In the 20th century, this animal was systematically hunted across the Amazon for its skin, sold as exotic leather for bags, belts, and shoes. Populations collapsed. So in the 1970s, international regulations and CITES Appendix 2 listing altered the trade. Captive farming was established to supply demand without depleting wild population. And here is something remarkable, most of what science knows about this species today. Most of what science knows about this species today comes from those leather farms, because the animal was commercially exploited before it was properly studied. It nearly vanished before we understood it. Let's talk about how it hunts. It starts with the forked tongue. Chemosensory detection. It smells the snail before it sees it. Then it approaches it in shallow water or along the bank. Patient, deliberate, not crushing. It sees the prey in its front teeth, then raises its head, letting gravity slide the snail backwards toward the rear of the jaw. It positions the snail between the molariform, precision placement, not a random bite. One single, powerful compression. Shell fragments eject from the sides of the jaw, and then it spits out every fragment of the shell, and it consumes only the soft tissue inside. This is a multi-step cognitive sequence, not a reflex. The animal knows exactly what it's doing and executes it in the same order every time. Captive keepers have watched them approach a snail clinging to a rock and visibly problem solve before acting. It also kills turtles. It has been documented attacking Amazon River turtles. It works its jaw around the edge of the shell, cracking it systematically piece by piece, and then consumes the animal chunk by chunk as the shell is progressively dismantled. The same precision it uses on snails scaled up to prey items that can fight back. This animal is three-dimensional. 3 environments, 1 animal. In the water, it hunts snails and aquatic invertebrates, dives to escape predators, and is a powerful swimmer. In the trees, it basks on branches 2 to 5 meters above the water. Roosts at night, always positioned for a fast drop and dive escape. On the ground, it excavates nesting holes in riverbanks and occasionally forages on lands. It has been documented crossing roads far from water and swimming through flooded village streets during the flood season. It is not semi-aquatic, it is fully three-dimensional. During the flood season, water levels rise, the forest floor submerges, and the snail populations explode. The Dracaena guianensis is one of the very few species that directly benefits from the flood cycle. More water, more mother, more food. A population advantage over every terrestrial competitor. This species did not adapt to the Várzea despite the flood cycle. It adapted because of it. The flood is not the talent. It is the mechanism that generates the food supply. Its primary function in the ecosystem is regulating mollusk and aquatic invertebrates populations. Without that regulation, aquatic vegetation can be overexploited, degrading the habitat for amphibians and other invertebrates. The shell material it processes returns mineral to the ecosystem. Calcium cycling probiological system, with cascading effects on water chemistry and plant growth. It also occasionally consumes fruit, making it a second seed disperser. It is not just eating snails, it is processing the ecosystem. They have been observed approaching a snail clinging to a rock and falling to elevate before acting. Captive raised individuals recognize their keeper, documented across multiple zoological institutions, and one called adults refuse all the food other than live snails, even when starving. That is not stubbornness, that is the depth of specialization. The neural pathways associated with feeding are so tightly calibrated to one prey type that the behavior simply cannot be overridden. If threatened, its first response is to drop from its basking branch, dive, and swim to safety. If that failed, it uses its tail, a powerful lateral strike weapon, and its foreigners it bites. The jaw that cracks dorsal cells delivers devastating defensive bites. As a last resort, it can shed its tail, which regenerates partially. Its green body blends into the flooded vegetation, and the redhead may function as a disruptive coloration against staple light timpering through the canopy. As a conclusion, the Dracaena guianensis is not just another reptile in the Amazon ecosystem. It is an evolutionary answer to a very specific question. How do you feed yourself in an environment where most abundant food source is locked inside the shells? The answer took millions of years to construct. A skull redesigned as a vice, teeth reshaped as crushing plates, eyes that can see underwater, nostrils that seal, a tail that propels, a brain that problem solves. Every part of this animal is an answer to the same question. And in a place like the Várzea, where the flood rises every year and the cells multiply with it, the answer is not just enough. It is a winning strategy. Because in nature, it is not always the fastest or the strongest that thrives. Sometimes it is the species that found the reserve no one else could reach and build an entire body around it.